Chapter 1. If you'd asked my parents which of their 3 children was the odd one out, they wouldn't say it out loud, at least not to my face. But you don't have to be a genius, like my brother Alex, who got a perfect score on the PSAT at 12, to figure it out. Or a piano prodigy, like my sister Leela, who had just performed Mozart's Concerto No. 21 at the state competition either. You just had to notice which family member had hair that always seemed a little too frizzy, elbows hiding mysterious pen stains, and test papers crumpled in her backpack, sandwiched between half-finished coding projects and a Rubik's Cube that nobody else had patience for. I'm Emma, 12 years old, brown hair, blue eyes. I live in the neatest, highest-achieving house in Greenfield, USA, which most days feels like living inside an SAT prep test, except I rarely know any of the answers. Maybe that's why the C on my science project didn't surprise me. I had poured my heart into building a solar-powered model car, I really had. But the wheels wobbled, and the wires stuck out at strange angles, and my teacher gave the kind of tight-lipped smile that basically means, "Nice try." I told myself it was fine. It was just a grade. It shouldn't matter so much. Except it always does. That evening, my family's silverware clinked in the dining room as I carried my plate back to the sink. I knew I should have sat through dinner, but after the walk home in the rain, thanks, Mom, for forgetting my pickup again, all I wanted was silence and the glow of my laptop. I was halfway down the hallway, my sneakers squeaking on the hardwood, when I heard Dad's voice, low, tight. "I don't know what's going on with Emma," he said sharply, "but a C, that's not acceptable in this family." "Maybe it was just a hard project, Rick," Mom said, her voice trying, as usual, to smooth out Dad's sharp edges. "Hard. Alex brought home a trophy for Science Olympiad last week, and Leela just performed a piece I couldn't even pronounce. And Emma," he scoffed. "At least she's consistent, I suppose, if being the family failure counts as consistent." I froze in the hallway, my lungs squeezing tight as a fist. The ache in my chest spread like a slow leak. "Rick, don't," Mom pleaded, but Dad just sighed, a sound heavy as a slammed door. The rest of the night blurred. I put my plate in the sink, careful not to make a sound. I avoided everyone. I was so quiet that nobody noticed I wasn't there at all, slipping up the stairs to my room. My hands shook as I fumbled with my phone and pulled the covers over my head, the words echoing, thick as mud. Family failure. Family failure. Mom found me just before bed, after the house had gone quiet, shadows stretching across the walls. She sat at the edge of my bed, brushing my hair from my forehead, her gentle counselor voice squeezing out of her tired face. "Emma, sweetheart, you know your father grew up with nothing. Sometimes he forgets how hard it is trying to measure up to people you love." Tears burst out of me, hot and shameful. "I tried, Mom. I really did. My throat closed up, the rest of the sentence dying in my mouth. Mom squeezed my hand. "I know you did, and I'm proud of you, Emma. Grades aren't everything." But the words didn't patch the holes in me. At least she was kind enough not to ask for my report card. She just held me until the shaking passed, humming a lullaby I hadn't heard in years. For a moment, I let myself believe that maybe, just maybe, all the pieces would fit together someday. But after she left, her perfume lingering in the cool air, I stared up at my ceiling, counting the glow-in-the-dark stars I'd stuck up there as a little kid. 1, 2, 23, 67. Somewhere around 104, I whispered a promise into the darkness. I'll make him eat those words, even if it's the last thing I do. That night my dreams were a muddle, Dad's disappointed face looming over a jagged mountain of test papers, Leela's perfect fingers flying over piano keys shaped like report cards. I was the only one not invited onto the stage, my solar car sputtering, wires tangled, the wheels refusing to turn. But even as the dreams faded with the sunrise, my heart was still pounding with that stubborn, impossible promise. I didn't know how I'd do it, how I'd make anyone, least of all Dad, see that I was worth more than a grade or a trophy. I just knew something had to change, even if it meant breaking out from the shadows and finding my own place to shine. Maybe, just maybe, tomorrow would be different. End of Chapter 1. My name is Emma, and I have always felt a little different in my family. My big brother Alex is a math genius. He once solved a Rubik's Cube in under a minute while juggling apples. My sister Leela plays the piano so well, our neighbors open their windows just to listen. They both have trophies in the glass cabinet. I don't. My brown hair is always a mess. My backpack is a jumble of charger cords, half-used notebooks, and sometimes, if I am lucky, a sandwich I forgot about. I like computers and I like helping people, but somehow, that doesn't seem to count for much. After school today, I finally got my science project back. I stared at the grade, a big red C. I felt my heart drop. I made a small solar car. The wheels turned sideways, and one wire came loose before I turned it in. I told myself it was okay. I tried my best. When I got home, I tried not to look upset. I smelled Dad's cooking, garlic bread and spaghetti night. Mom and Dad were already arguing softly in the kitchen, but I didn't care. My eyes stung. I didn't want anyone to see my project, so I threw it under my bed and washed my hands. At dinner, they all talked about Leela's new piano trophy and Alex's math contest coming up. I put my head down and poked at my spaghetti. I hardly ate. I wanted to disappear. Dad looked right at me and said, "Did you do your project well, Emma?" I nodded quickly. "It was okay," I said. My voice sounded too small. Alex looked at me and asked, "What grade did you get?" I shook my head. "It doesn't matter." But it did matter. I could feel it. Dad raised his eyebrow. "Emma," he said, "bring your project here. We'd all like to see it." My chest got tight. "I already put it away," I said. Dad shook his head and sighed. "That's not a good sign," he said. I felt my face get hot. I wanted to run away. My fork slipped out of my hand and clattered on the plate. I mumbled sorry and grabbed a napkin. Nobody smiled. He looked at Mom and said, "What's going on with this girl? Her grades keep slipping." His voice got colder. "It's not like Leela, is it?" Mom tried to help me. "Emma tries hard, Rick," she said. Dad frowned. "Trying is not enough, not in this family." I swallowed hard. My throat hurt. I wanted to argue. I wanted to scream. But I sat silent and fiddled with the hem of my shirt. He turned away from me as if I wasn't there and said, "If she keeps going like this, she'll always be the family failure." It was like a punch. I felt the word failure slam into me. I stared down so hard at my plate, I could see my tears falling in the sauce. Nobody noticed, or maybe they did and pretended not to. I couldn't take it anymore. I stood up so fast my chair tipped back, crashing to the floor. Mom said gently, "Emma, wait." I ran upstairs, heart pounding. I buried my face in my pillow. The world felt blurry. My chest hurt and I couldn't breathe right. I heard footsteps and then felt Mom's hand on my back. "Emma, I'm so sorry," she whispered. "Don't listen to him." I sat up, shaking. "But Mom," I said, "why does he think I can't do anything right? I tried so hard. I worked for days on that car, it broke at the end." Mom hugged me tight. "Sweetheart, you're trying. You're smart and kind. Sometimes your dad he doesn't see how hard it is." I started to sob. "He called me a failure," I said, right in front of everyone. She kissed the top of my head. "You know that's not true," she said. "He's just scared you won't succeed like your brother or sister." I wiped my eyes. "What if I am a failure?" I said, my voice wobbling. She grabbed my shoulders and made me look at her. "Emma, you are not a failure, not ever, you hear me." I just nodded, not sure if I could believe her. I pulled the blanket around me until only my nose poked out. I listened as Mom walked out, her shoes soft on the hallway carpet. In the dark, I looked up at the ceiling. There were old glow stars I stuck there years ago. I counted them, whispering numbers until my breathing slowed. Mom's words circled in my head, but my dad's voice was louder. I closed my eyes and gripped my pillow tight. "I'll prove him wrong," I whispered so only the shadows could hear. "I'll show him I am not a failure." My heart thudded hard with something I hadn't felt before, anger, maybe, or something new. I lay awake for a long time thinking. Maybe tomorrow, things would start to change. Maybe someone would finally see me. But just as I started drifting off, I heard voices downstairs. Dad's voice was sharp, and Mom's was pleading. I couldn't make out the words, but I knew they were talking about me. My stomach twisted. I closed my eyes tighter and hugged my pillow. I didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but I made myself a promise in that moment. I would find a way to prove I belong, whatever it takes. And then, just as my eyelids were finally closing, I heard my phone buzz on my desk. The library always smells like pencils and old books. I sat with my backpack on my lap, bouncing my legs. I checked my phone for the 100th time. Sam was late. I barely knew her, but all the 7th graders talked about how cool and smart she was. I'd seen her fix the printer last week in under a minute. Now she was supposed to help lead the new STEM group at school. I wondered if she was too busy to care about a quiet girl like me. Suddenly the door swung open and Sam rushed in, grinning. Her hair was up in a messy ponytail. She waved at me. "Hey, Emma, sorry I'm late," she said. I sat frozen, surprised she even remembered my name. "Hi," I said. My voice sounded tiny. "It's okay, I was just waiting." Sam dropped her bag on the chair and flopped down across from me. She opened her laptop fast, like she was on a cooking show and there was a timer. "Ready to do some coding? Want to show me your idea?" she asked. My hands shook a little as I pulled out my sketchbook. "It's not much," I said. "Just some rough stuff about an app." I slid the paper over to her. "It matches kids who need homework help with kids who understand it, like a buddy system." Sam's eyes went big. She leaned forward. "That's actually really cool, Emma," she said. "I love that. Did you come up with this on your own?" I felt my cheeks get hot. "Yeah," I said, "but it's not a real thing, it's just an idea." She smiled at me. "It could be a real thing," she said. "We could build it together in STEM Club, or even outside of it. You ever write code before?" I shook my head fast. "Not really. I just mess with stuff on my Chromebook sometimes," I said. "I break things a lot." Sam laughed, not like she was making fun of me, but like she understood. "That's how you learn. I break things all the time," she said. Then she patted my sketchbook. "This is smart, seriously." Her words made my heart race. No one had ever called my ideas smart before. "You really think so?" I said. Sam nodded. "Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want help with math homework? I wish there was this when I was your age." I smiled a little. "We're almost the same age," I said. She laughed again. "Nice try," she said, "but 16 feels a lot older than 12, trust me." Then her phone buzzed, and she typed fast. I tried not to stare. I wondered if she could tell how nervous I was. "Hey, Emma, want to help me lead the next session?" she asked. "You're full of good ideas, we need you." I almost choked. "Me," I said. "No way, I'm terrible at talking in front of people." She shrugged. "There's a first time for everything. I'll help you," she said. I looked down at my sketchbook. "Maybe," I said. "My dad says stuff like this is just a distraction. He doesn't think it matters." My voice cracked. Sam frowned. "That's not fair," she said. "This does matter. Don't let anybody tell you it doesn't, even your dad." I tried to smile, but it hurt. "He just wants me to be perfect, like my brother and sister. He wants grades and trophies," I said. "He called me the family failure." Sam's jaw dropped. "He actually said that." I nodded. "I heard him last night," I said. My throat felt like it was closing. Sam leaned across the table. Her voice was soft now. "That's rough, but you know what? Sometimes the people who don't win the trophies end up changing the world. You should keep going with this, Emma. Really." Her words shocked me. For a second, I believed her. After our meeting, I went home hungry but excited. At dinner, I tried to tell my family about the STEM club and Sam. "There's a cool girl named Sam helping us," I said. "She says my homework helper app could work and—" Dad didn't even look up from his phone. "Another distraction," he said. "That's just what you need, something else to pull you away from real work." My hands shook under the table. "It's not just playing Dad, it's—" He cut me off. "When you get better grades, maybe we can talk about it," he said. I felt myself shrink inside. I wanted to disappear into my chair. Mom gave me a sad smile. "I think it sounds wonderful, Emma," she said. "Maybe you can show us your idea sometime." "I'd like that, Mom," I said, but my voice came out flat. The rest of dinner was silent, except for Alex's fork clinking and Leela's humming. I replayed Sam's words in my head, but Dad's voice was louder. That night I lay awake, staring at my phone. I wished Sam was here. I wished someone believed in me besides Mom. Suddenly, my phone lit up. It was a message from Sam. "I think your app idea could actually work," she wrote. "Want to meet at the library tomorrow." My heart thumped hard. I sat up straight and typed back, "Yes." As I lay back down, I felt hope, but also fear. What if tomorrow changed everything? What if it did? My mind raced with questions, and I couldn't sleep, waiting for the sun to rise. The next day, I rushed to the library after school. My heart beat fast the whole way there. All I could think was, what if Sam hates my idea in person? What if she laughs? But when I pushed open the heavy door, Sam was already waiting with 2 iced lemonades. She grinned when she saw me. "Hey, Emma," she said. "Sit, let's talk app stuff." Her voice made me feel calmer. I set my backpack down and sat next to her at the little table. "Thanks for texting me," I said. "I was nervous." Sam sipped her lemonade. "Nervous for what?" she asked. "For I don't know," I said. "For someone actually liking my idea, I guess." She chuckled. "Trust me, I like it," she said. "Now tell me more, what made you think of this?" I looked down at my hands. "Sometimes school is just hard," I said. "I always wish I had someone to explain things, but lots of kids are like me. And some kids are like Alex. He could help people so much but doesn't know where to start." Sam leaned in. "Wait, so you're talking about a club that matches up helpers with kids who need the help, using your own app?" I nodded. "Yeah," I said. "Like a homework helpers club. I've been drawing app ideas in my notebook for months." I opened my bag and handed her the pages. Sam flipped through my drawings. Her eyes got wider with every page. "Whoa, Emma," she said. "You thought out the logo, the sign-up, even how kids can set what they want to learn. Have you made an app before?" I shook my head fast. "No, sometimes I play with code, like fixing my Chromebook, but I don't really know how." I bit my lip. "I guess it's silly, huh?" Sam looked at me like I had said the sky was orange. "No, it's not silly at all," she said. "This isn't just a club idea, Emma. This could be a real business." My cheeks got hot. "A business?" I said, almost laughing. She nodded, serious. "Yeah, people pay big money for tutoring. Your app could be huge. You should lead this. You should be the CEO." I almost spit out my lemonade. "Me, CEO? That's not me. I can barely organize my backpack, Sam," I said, my voice shook. "My dad says I can't even do that." Sam's smile faded for a second. "Well, your dad's wrong," she said. "I can teach you coding. You already have the most important thing, ideas. I wish I'd thought of this." I grinned for a second. "You really think I can do this?" She nodded. "With a little help, for sure." She started sketching something on her tablet. We were so caught up, we didn't even notice a man come over. He had gray hair and kind eyes. "That's an impressive conversation," he said, smiling at me. I jumped a little in my seat. "Oh, sorry, sir," I said. Sam laughed. "Hi, Mr. Greene." I realized right then he was our school counselor. I had never talked to him before. "Hello, Sam, and you must be Emma," he said. "I couldn't help but hear you talking about a business and an app," he asked. My cheeks burned again. It's just an idea," I said. I wanted to run away. He looked at me kindly. "Ideas are where everything begins. Did you know my son started a tech company when he was your age?" "Really?" I said. He nodded. "Yes, we all start somewhere. Some of us need a push, others need someone to listen." He reached into his coat and handed me his card. "If you ever want to talk more," he said, "my door is always open for young entrepreneurs." I stared down at his card. I felt something spark inside me, a tiny bit of hope. Sam smiled at me. "See, Emma, other people get it, not just me." I grinned. For the first time in weeks, I felt proud of myself. Maybe I wasn't a failure, maybe I was more. "I'll think about going to see him," I said quietly. "You should," Sam said. "But first, let's start a plan. Tomorrow, maybe." I nodded. "Tomorrow," I said. As I packed my backpack, I saw the library lights reflecting off the glass walls. I caught a glimpse of myself, messy hair, hopeful eyes. When I got home, I set Mr. Greene's card on my desk and stared at it. I glanced at Dad's business planner in his office, the one with his name on it in gold letters. What if I learned how to talk to him in his own language? What if he saw my idea not as a distraction, but as something important? My heart pounded faster just thinking about it. Tomorrow I would try, even if it scared me. But I didn't know what Dad would say, or if he would say anything at all. I took deep breaths as I walked into Mr. Greene's office. My hands were sweaty, and my notebook felt heavy in my arms. I kept telling myself, don't mess up, don't look stupid. Mr. Greene looked up from his computer and smiled. "Emma, I've been waiting for you," he said. "Come in, sit wherever you like." I sat in the soft blue chair across from him. I hugged my notebook to my chest. He leaned forward and said, "So, Sam tells me you have a great idea for a club and an app. Want to tell me more?" My throat was dry, but I nodded. "I want to make something called Homework Helpers," I said. "It would be a club at school, but we'd use an app. The app matches kids who need help with homework to students who can help." He nodded, listening carefully. "That sounds interesting, Emma," he said. "What made you think of it?" I looked at my knees. Because I always need help, but I feel too embarrassed to ask Alex or Leela. And some kids are good at things I'm not good at. If we worked together, maybe nobody would feel alone, I said. He smiled softly. "That's a wonderful reason. You know, my son started a tech company when he was about your age." "Really?" I said. I felt nervous, but also amazed. "Yes," he said. "He built an app in high school and worked very hard. He failed over and over, but he kept going." I wanted to know more. "How did he do it?" I said. "I feel like I always get things wrong." Mr. Greene shook his head. "Getting things wrong is how you learn," he said kindly. "The secret is not about being perfect the first try. It's about trying again and getting back up." He wrote something on a piece of paper and slid it to me. It was a list that said, "Business Plan Resources." "These might help you," he said. "Try to answer the questions and see where your idea takes you. And if you fail at first, you get to try again, just like my son." I looked at the list. My heart felt lighter. "Thank you, Mr. Greene," I said. "I thought maybe no grown-ups would ever take me seriously." He chuckled. "The bravest people are often the ones who try new things," he said. "You already have that spark, Emma. Now you just need to trust yourself." I stood up, clutching the list. I think I can do this," I said. I almost believed it. He smiled and said, "Come back anytime if you want to talk or need help. My door's open for every entrepreneur." As I left his office, my steps felt bouncier. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like a failure. I felt seen. When I got home, I passed Dad's office. The door was open, and I saw his business books lined up in a neat row, his planner on the desk with gold letters on the cover. I stopped and stared. I thought, if I want him to take me seriously, I have to talk his way. I have to show him charts and research like he does for his work. Mom peeked in from the hallway. "Emma, is something wrong?" she asked. I shook my head. "No, Mom. Do you think Dad would ever help with my club idea? He always looks for reasons to say no." My voice trembled a little. Mom gave me a sad smile. "He was raised in a hard way. He thinks success is only grades or trophies, but sometimes he just needs to see things from your side." I whispered, "I want to try. I want him to see how much this means to me." She squeezed my hand. "If you want, I can help you practice what to say." I nodded. "That would help. I'm scared he'll laugh or get mad." Mom said, "He might. But you won't know until you try, Emma. I'm proud of you for wanting to try." After dinner, I sat in my room with the planner open, copying how Dad wrote notes and made neat bullet points. I Googled words like market research and competitors. I worked for hours, scribbling, erasing, and starting over. I drew charts and even colored them with Leela's markers. I practiced my speech in the mirror over and over, feeling silly and brave at the same time. But late at night, my hands still shook. What if I got it all wrong? I went downstairs and stared at Dad's office door. The house was quiet. I pressed my ear to the wood and listened to him typing, his fingers moving so surely. I whispered, "Please let him see me, not just my mistakes, just this once." As I tiptoed back upstairs, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Sam. "Ready to build our business plan tomorrow," she wrote. I smiled and typed, "Yes, I want to try." But as I turned off the light, I couldn't help wondering, would my plan actually work, or would Dad crush my hopes again? My stomach twisted. I hugged my notebook tight and promised myself I wouldn't give up, no matter what. Just before I fell asleep, I saw Dad's door open a crack. Light spilled into the hallway. I held my breath, waiting to see if he would come talk to me, this time about something that mattered. The next few days felt like a wild storm in my chest. Sam and I met every afternoon. We took over a corner table at the library. My backpack was stuffed with notebooks and sticky notes. We talked and laughed and argued over ideas. I wasn't just helping, Sam made me feel like I was leading. For the first time ever, I wanted to do homework. One day, Sam said, "Emma, your club idea is actually something special." I shook my head. "No one in my family will think so," I said. She smiled. "You just wait, we'll show them." We made a plan. I drew logos and set up a survey for kids who needed help with schoolwork. Sam showed me how to use a program to build an app. I watched the lines of code on her screen. It looked impossible. My stomach knotted with worry. "I can't do this," I said. Sam rolled her eyes. "You're already doing it," she said. "Just try." I bit my lip and typed. To my shock, the code actually worked. When it ran, a simple screen popped up. "Welcome to Homework Helpers." "My gosh," I yelled. "I did it." Sam whooped and high-fived me. I couldn't stop smiling. Later that night, I sat on my bed, my laptop glowing on my knees. My fingers hurt from all the typing. Mom peeked in and asked, "What are you working on so late?" I spun around fast. I could feel my pulse in my ears. "It's just, we're almost done with the Homework Helpers app." She walked in and sat next to me. She touched my arm softly and said, "You look exhausted, sweetheart. Why are you up?" Her eyes were gentle but worried. I took a breath. "It matters, Mom. Sam says it could help kids and maybe it could make some money if it works. But I need Dad's help. I need money to launch it for real. Would you help me practice my speech? I'm scared he'll just say no." Mom gave me a long look, then hugged me close. "Of course I'll help you," she said. "You've worked so hard, Emma." It made me want to cry. I pressed my face into her shoulder. "What if he laughs?" I whispered. She tucked my hair behind my ear. "Then we'll try again. But I think you should show him. Maybe you can even use his own business words." I nodded. Sam helped me with a business plan. We wrote out how much it could earn, how many students might join, and even who the competitors are. Mom's mouth dropped open a little. "Wow, Emma, that's very grown-up. I think you'll be surprised." I turned back to my computer. "Will you listen to my speech?" She nodded. "Go ahead." I stood up and tried to sound brave. "Dad, I know my grades weren't good, but I have an idea for a club and app called Homework Helpers. It connects kids who need help with students who can tutor. Here is my market research. Here are user patterns I expect, and this is how we could make a profit." Mom blinked fast. "That's actually really strong, Emma. Let's make it even smoother." So we stayed up. Mom made tea, and I read my pitch again and again, trying different words. She helped me fix the rough spots. By midnight, we both yawned so wide it made us laugh. When I crawled into bed, I was so tired I couldn't see straight. But when I closed my eyes, I kept dreaming of Dad shaking his head, saying no again and again. I saw my app crashing. I saw Alex smirking and Leela playing piano as if nothing I did mattered. The next morning, I picked out my best jeans and tried on Mom's old gray blazer. It felt huge and silly, but it made me stand a bit taller. Downstairs, the house was silent except for the hum of Dad's coffee maker. I walked into the kitchen. Dad sat with his newspaper, looking at the stock section. "Dad," I said, my voice was shaky. He looked up, surprised. "I wanted to ask you something important," I said. I put my nerves behind me just like Mom told me. He raised his eyebrow. What's that? I took a deep breath and clutched my folder. I want to set up a real business. I have a plan, charts, market stuff, and a budget. Can we have a business meeting soon, like you do with your team? He stared at me for a long moment. All right, Emma, he said slowly. Bring your materials, we'll talk after breakfast. My hands trembled. Part of me wanted to run, but another part burned to finish what I started. I slipped out the front door to call Sam. When she answered, I said, He said yes. I have to pitch to him today. Sam cheered. Show him what you and homework helpers can do. I smiled, but my stomach twisted with nerves. What if Dad hated the idea? What if I choked? But then again, what if I surprised him? My heart pounded as I looked over my notes. For the first time, I felt scared and brave all at once. And as I stood by the window, folder in hand, I realized everything might change after this meeting, one way or another. My heart was beating so loud, I thought Dad could hear it across the kitchen. I stood at the table in Mom's big gray blazer, clutching my folder with both hands. I tried to slow my breaths, but everything in my body was shaking. Dad looked up at me with one eyebrow raised. Emma, are you ready? Let's make this quick. I have a call in an hour, he said. I nodded, even though my throat felt tight. Yes, I'm ready, I said. He gave a small sigh and set his coffee down. So what's this important business you've been working on? He asked. I set my folder in front of him. My hands left sweaty marks on the cover. I've been creating a club and an app called Homework Helpers. It matches kids who need help with homework to kids who can tutor them, I said. My voice sounded strange to my own ears. He looked a little surprised. An app? Yes, I said. It's not just a club. It could help a lot of kids, Dad. And it could even earn money by letting parents pay a small fee for extra help or by partnering with local schools. I made charts and a budget and some research. I opened the folder and showed him page after page. Dad started flipping through them, his lips pressed together like he was biting back a comment. Who helped you with all this? He asked. I did most of it. Sam showed me a little coding and helped explain some words, but it's my idea. I worked really hard, I said. He tapped a graph and said, Where did you get these numbers? I swallowed hard. From surveys we ran at school, I asked kids if they'd want to join. I looked up other tutoring apps and wrote down what they charge, I said. My hands were fidgeting so much I hid them under the table. Dad looked at me for a long moment. It felt like he could see through my skin and bones. Most apps fail, Emma. Why should this one work? He said. I raised my chin. Because I know what it feels like to be lost in school. Most apps are for adults. Kids don't want to talk to strangers, just other kids. Homework Helpers is different. It's safe. It's for students by students, I said. He leaned back in his chair. You really think you can pull this off? I nodded. My mouth was dry. Yes, and I want your help. I want you to treat this like one of your business deals, I said. He actually smiled just a tiny bit. You sound serious, he said. I stood up straighter. I am serious. I know you think I never finish things, but I've worked for weeks on this. I don't want to quit. I want to prove you wrong. I want to prove everyone wrong. He looked at me, quiet now, then his voice got sharper. What if kids don't use it? What if you lose money? He asked. I took a breath. Every word Mom had helped me practice spun in my head. I have backup plans. If it fails, I'll learn from it. If I need help, I'll ask Sam or Mr. Greene or you. But I won't give up, I said. My voice was shaking, but I didn't look away. Dad flipped through the pages again. That was all he said. We sat there, frozen. I felt sweat roll down my back. I thought he was going to tell me to go back to my comfort zone. I thought he might even laugh. But he just stared at the folder. He looked at a chart for a long time. Finally, he closed the folder and slid it toward himself. I'll review this, he said quietly. I'll give you my answer this weekend. I bit my lip. That's it. He nodded. That's how I treat business deals, Emma. No quick choices. If you want to be taken seriously, you get a real review. I let out a huge breath. My knees felt weak. Okay, thank you for listening, I said. He looked at me and his face softened just a little. You surprised me, Emma, he said. That made my chest hurt in the weirdest way. I couldn't tell if it was happy or sad. I picked up my things and rushed upstairs before I could cry. I didn't know if my idea would live or die by the weekend. For now, all I could do was wait. In my room, I dropped my bag and flopped onto my bed. My phone buzzed. It was Sam. How did it go? She wrote. I typed back. He's thinking about it. It's not a no yet. Sam wrote, that's a win for today, boss. I stared at her words, shaking all over, not sure if I wanted to laugh or cry. I had stood up to Dad. That was new. I wondered if I'd be brave enough to stand up again, no matter what he said next. And just as I closed my eyes to rest for a minute, I heard Dad's office door click shut. I wondered what he was thinking. Would this be the start of something new, or would all my hopes crash down in the end? Waiting is the hardest thing I've ever done. Every morning, I wake up thinking maybe Dad will give me his answer today. But he just sips his coffee and reads the news like nothing is different. I keep looking at the folder on his desk. It sits there between piles of his business papers. I wish I could read his mind. I wish I could know if he even cares. At school, I'm extra jumpy. Every time my phone buzzes, I hope it's Dad saying something. But it's just Sam or a new email from a teacher. Sam tries to help me keep busy. She says, let's add more features to the app, or let's make posters to recruit more helpers. We even ask 3 other kids to join as volunteers. One day after school, we sit at the library. Sam is fixing a typo in the code, and I'm writing a list of names. She looks at me and says, you haven't heard from him yet. I shake my head. No, I say, my voice sounds small. I keep thinking he's going to say no. She pushes my notebook back to me. Emma, your plan is great. If he says no, then we find someone else who believes in us. Her words help a little, but my stomach hurts anyway. I try to smile. Thanks, Sam, I say. I'm glad you believe in me even when I don't. We keep working, but I can't focus. I just want this waiting to be over. That night after dinner, I walk past Dad's office. The door is open a little. I see him at his computer staring at something on the screen. At first, I think it's work. But then I see the Homework Helpers logo. My breath catches. Is he looking at my project? He leans in close, his face serious. I watch as he clicks through, reading everything. For a second, he frowns. He jots something down on his notepad. The way he's working reminds me of how he acts before a big meeting. Focused and sharp. Suddenly, he looks up. I jump away from the door, heart pounding, and rush to my room, hoping he didn't see me. The next day is just as stressful. At breakfast, I can barely eat. Leela asks, why are you so quiet, Emma? I shrug. Just tired, I say, not meeting her eyes. Alex adds, you've been acting weird all week. Dad glances at me but says nothing. He just taps his mug and stares out the window. I look at Mom, silently pleading for help. She gives me a tiny, encouraging smile, but even she seems worried. At school, Sam is waiting by my locker. Tonight is Friday, she says. You think he'll decide? I nod. He said he'd answer before the weekend, I say. My hands are so sweaty, I wipe them on my jeans. The day drags. I can't think during math. I keep checking my watch. All I can think about is after dinner, when Dad will finally give me his answer. After school, I walk home slow, wishing I could skip ahead in time. Dinner is the quietest meal we've ever had. No one talks. Even Leela is silent. I pick at my peas and listen to every sound, every clink of a fork, every sigh. Dad clears his throat. That one sound makes me jump in my seat. He stands up and says, Emma, I'd like to discuss your business proposal in my office after dinner. Bring your projections. I freeze. There it is. The moment I'd been waiting for, and now I'm terrified. I nod, but the fork shakes in my hand. Leela stares at me. What's going on? She asks. Mom squeezes my shoulder. Good luck, sweetie, she says softly. Alex leans back and whispers, knock 'em dead, Em. After dinner, I grab my folder, the same one I'd given Dad days ago. My legs feel like jelly as I walk down the hall to his office. Dad is waiting, looking serious. He points to the chair in front of his desk. "Sit," he says. I do, hugging my folder to my chest. "Let's talk about your business projections," he says. His eyes are sharp, but there's something softer in them too. I take a deep breath. This is it. I don't know if I'm ready. All I know is everything could change after this moment. He flips open my folder and begins. I sat down in Dad's office, my folder on my lap. My heart felt like it was going to explode. Dad flipped through my papers with a serious look. He was quiet for so long I started to worry he hated everything. All I could hear was the sound of my own breathing. Finally, Dad looked at me and said, "You worked hard on this, Emma." I nodded. "Yes," I said. "I tried really hard. Sam helped and Mr. Greene did too, but most of it is mine. I want to make homework helpers real." He leaned back in his chair. "I spent the last few days looking into this app idea," he said. "I even called some people I know who work in tech." My mouth fell open. "Really?" He nodded. "Yes, and let me tell you, Emma, your idea is actually pretty smart. Your plan is more solid than some I see at work. Your revenue model makes sense, your market research looks good, and your numbers add up." I felt my cheeks get hot. "You mean you like it?" I said in a shaky voice. He smiled, a real proud smile I hadn't seen in a long time. "I do like it," he said. "In fact, I think with the right team it could really work. I want to help you, Emma." My eyes stung. "You do?" He nodded. "Not only will I give you funding to launch, but I'll introduce you to some app developers. And if you want business advice, I can mentor you myself." It felt like a dream. I wanted to shout and laugh and cry all at once. "Thank you, Dad," I said. My voice cracked, but I didn't care. He held up one finger. "But," he said, "you have to promise to keep up with your schoolwork and you have to give me weekly updates. Running your own project is a lot of work." I nodded fast. "I promise. I'll work harder than ever. Thank you so much." He looked down, almost embarrassed. "Your proposal really surprised me, Emma," he said. "I've had people with MBAs come in with less impressive ideas. I should have listened to you sooner." Hearing him say that made me want to cry and laugh. "I just wanted a chance to show you," I said softly. He smiled and pushed the folder back to me. "Now go tell your team," he said. "You start today." I left his office grinning so hard my face hurt. I ran upstairs and called Sam. "Guess what?" I said when she picked up. "You got the funding," she yelled. "Didn't you?" "Yes," I said, bouncing up and down. "Dad wants to mentor us. He thinks the app is really good." Sam whooped. "Emma, this is huge. We're going to make this real." I felt happier than I had in months. For once, I wasn't the failure. Maybe I could be something more. Dinner that night was so strange. Dad asked me questions about the app in front of everyone. "How are you planning to recruit new tutors?" he said. "We made posters," I said, "and Sam is helping me train new helpers." Alex looked shocked. "You really got Dad to invest in your club?" he asked. Leela smiled and said, "I can make some music for your promo video if you want." I nodded, trying not to cry. "That would be great, Leela." Mom squeezed my hand under the table. She gave me a proud look I'll never forget. After dinner, my brain raced with worries. What if launch day went wrong? What if no one showed up and Dad regretted helping me? My stomach twisted with fear. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. "What if it fails?" I whispered. "What if Dad was right about me after all?" But I also felt something I hadn't before, a spark of hope mixed in with my fear. I closed my eyes, hearing Sam's words from the phone. "We're going to make this real, Emma." Tomorrow would be launch day. I clung to that hope, wondering if I was about to fly or fall. I kept thinking, what if I can't do it? What if everybody is watching me? What if I mess up in front of my team and Dad? I took a deep breath and promised myself I wouldn't give up, no matter how scared I was. I gripped my pillow tight, waiting for the morning, my heart pounding as I wondered, would anyone show up for homework helpers? I woke up before my alarm went off. My heart was pounding so loud, I was sure it would wake up everyone in the house. I stared at the ceiling. Today was launch day for homework helpers. Today was my day. I felt like I was going to throw up. My hands shook as I brushed my hair and picked out my favorite shirt. I kept practicing what I would say to people. I kept thinking, what if nobody comes? What if everyone laughs? Mom came into my room while I was tying my shoes. She smiled and said, "You're going to do great, Emma. I believe in you." She hugged me tight. I hugged her back, even tighter. "Do you still get nervous before your big meetings?" I asked. She nodded. "Every single time," she said. Downstairs, Dad gave me a nod. "Remember to have your sign-in sheets ready," he said. "First impressions matter." I grabbed my bag and rushed out the door. My legs felt wobbly the whole walk to school. When I got to the library, Sam was already there, setting up laptops. She looked up and grinned. "You made it," she said. "Ready to be the boss?" I laughed. "No," I said, half joking. "I feel like I'm going to faint." Sam tossed me a granola bar. "Eat something. You're the leader now. You can't lead on an empty stomach." Other volunteers came in, Sarah, Liam, and Ben, all holding homework helper signs. I couldn't believe how many people wanted to help. I tried to smile at everyone, but my hands wouldn't stop shaking. One by one, kids started filing in. Some looked nervous. Some parents peeked through the glass doors. Pretty soon, the library was noisy, 30 kids. My heart did a little happy dance, but my head was spinning. Principal Miller walked in. She shook my hand and said, "I'm so proud of you, Emma. This is impressive work." I said, "Thank you," but my voice was tiny. Sam whispered, "Look around. This is all because of you." Liam ran up. "Emma, a kid spilled juice on the sign-in table," he said. I took a deep breath and said, "Grab some napkins and I'll make a new sheet." I found paper and wrote up a new sign-in. It felt good to fix something and not panic. All morning, kids were asking questions and meeting their new homework partners. I helped organize groups and answered questions. I even showed a few volunteers how to use the app on their phones. Ben came up to me. "Emma," he said, "there's a news reporter outside. She wants to do a story about homework helpers." My mouth dropped open. "Me, she wants to talk to me." He nodded. "She said you're the CEO." I almost laughed out loud. CEO. I never thought I could be anything like that. I wiped my sweaty hands on my jeans and stepped outside. The reporter had a microphone and a cameraman. She said, "Are you the founder?" "I guess I am," I said, my voice shaky. She smiled. "Tell us how you got this idea." I looked back at the window. I saw Sam and Sarah waving. I saw Dad standing at the back, hands in his pockets. He looked uncomfortable, but he was here. He was watching. I took a deep breath and told the reporter about wanting to help kids who felt lost. I told her how my own failures turned into ideas and how my friends helped me make it real. When she finished the interview, she said, "You're very impressive, Emma." Inside, Sam ran over and hugged me. "That was so cool," she said. "I can't believe we're on the news." The principal called everyone together and gave a short speech. "We are so proud of our students, especially Emma, for showing what kindness and teamwork can do," she said. I felt my face burn with happiness as everyone clapped for me. For the first time ever, I didn't want to hide. I wanted to stand tall. Then I spotted Dad standing in the back, close to the door. I couldn't tell what he was thinking. I walked up to him slowly. "Dad, do you want to meet the team?" I asked. My hands were trembling. He nodded. "I'd be honored, Emma. Introduce me," he said, his voice a little soft. I led him to the group. "This is my dad," I said. "He's our angel investor." Sam grinned. "Hi, Mr. Thomas." Suddenly, Sam turned to me and said loudly, "What do you think, boss? Should we start the next round of activities?" The room went quiet. Everyone looked at me. My dad's eyebrows shot up in surprise. "Me, the boss?" I laughed nervously. "Yeah, let's do it," I said, trying to sound sure. But inside, my heart was racing, and I wondered what Dad would say about that title. Would he really see me like that now, or was this just for today? Everyone watched, waiting, so I took a breath and got ready for what came next.